Not a bad matchup if they want to take that down to the bot side, or equally a very nice and safe blind to go down into that mid lane, but maybe getting something a little bit different, and AL revealing their flex a little earlier here.
Yeah, this has become more and more popular. Shanks played this Rise the last 2 games of the placement stages, 2 wins of course, and so that'll be locked in for himself.
Okay.
Champion with that semi-global can have high impact on the map early on in the game, can really coordinate with that Neferi in terms of making impact after he hits level 6. Matchup for the jungle will be the Skarner here for Kanavi as we enter the second phase of bans.
So it's going to be those junglers getting traded like we thought earlier on, with them both missing out on the bans. I like having Rise versus Skarner in particular. Being able to root him out of the Ichtal's impact as he comes through the wall can be quite impactful. But even still, looking at what composition AL are looking to go for, they are very much leaning towards these scrappy skirmishing styles of pick. They've got a lot of mid-range damage at the minute, but they don't really have that engage. They don't have that fight to get it going, so they're missing a frontline, they're missing an engage to get the fight started. They could get both of those from their support or their top laner, but we'll keep our eyes on for what Flandre is looking for here. Likely going to be having that blind pick into the top side for this game. Top Esports as well, though, like you can see, they've got that front line, they've got that semblance of engage. We're just missing out a little bit, really, on that DPS. The Kalista can do great work, but we're looking at Creme, we're looking at 369 to bolster up that damage profile at the minute.
Yeah, 369 somebody who likes to be on the weak side every once in a while, so maybe has to pull up a little bit more of a DPS-oriented build. Things like the Jace are still available for either of these top laners if they want to select it, but I want to parse away a little bit from those tanks, at least if you are 369, things like the Cassante or the Scion, unless Creme is playing some massive hyper carry, which I guess we'll find the answer to in just a little bit. Mid laners targeted so far here for AL, which means that without Azir and Ahri on the table, it'll be an Aurora, another A mid laner getting picked up.
Yeah, a fan of this pick, though, for Creme, just in particular. He's been a really solid Aurora player. I think that he and Rookie have been 2 of our probably best Aurora players that there are so far from 2025, but still looking quite nicely into that mid matchup. Can definitely bully a Rise, right? Still an immobile mage to take in that mid lane. And for AL here, now they've got to decide what they want to match their top laner, or what blind pick top laner they're going to go for. It is that Flandre Scion that we saw have a nice little clip farming on social media, but that is that top lane tank and engage. It's the 2-for-2 box that they were looking for, and now they're going to get to really build that up again, because they're probably going to go some engage support in the Leona, or something, still maybe not as tanky, but does the job just as well. Kael on the Pantheon going to be opting into that support role, is an engage. He's going to look to buy space and time in that front line. Now Top Esports decide how they're going to want to answer it.
Yeah, you said the potentially trying to harass this Nico out of the laning phase could be a strategy if you were AL, and so having some all-in threat with that Pantheon surely should help. The number of hovers that Crisp is having here in the top lane, as somebody who plays a lot of Scion, are all matchups that I typically like to avoid. The Mordekaiser didn't work too well in the 1v1 for side select, but maybe will work a lot better against the Scion. Incredible dual threat, especially against a tank in the early game, so that's a really good matchup for 369 to round up 15 times.
Yeah, Mod just does a lot of damage, right, versus percentage HP, or has a lot of percentage HP damage built into his kit, plus he builds that Liandry's. It's going to be hopefully able to take down Flandre as well. And if we end up seeing the Neferi, right, picked in, or when we've got the Neferi taken, it can prevent some of that backline assassination. Just call a quick death round down, and all of a sudden the backline access is completely removed. So I think the eyes definitely need to be on, first of all, how well we get to see the 369 Mordekaiser perform, and also I think Crisp has got a really big onus on their shoulders as well this game. As a Nico, you have to be able to find those backline targets, right? That's your job, that's your goal. If you trade your life 1-for-1 with them, absolutely worthwhile. And I think that when we're looking at the composition that we see drafted for AL, obviously some very highly prized targets to be taking out of this game. If you take down the Corki or the Rise, that DPS threat drops off of a cliff for AL. So just being able to find 1 or 2 of those is going to be incredibly important for Crisp.
And on the other side for AL, you're going to need to see a little bit of that creativity with the way that their composition has set up a lot of semi-global ultimates. You got the Rise, you have the Pantheon, even the Scion with that unstoppable onslaught. Can be used from afar to try and close a short distance. Oh my god, we got the Glizzy skin.
What? Huh? Grapes?
The Glizzy Neferi.
Grapes?
That's what it's called, right?
I don't think that's the technical name. That's probably not the true
name.
Is
No,
it?
look it up, look it up. I literally had this exact same conversation with somebody earlier. It's called Glizzy Neferi officially.
Nice.
In English,
okay. Okay, never mind,
Happy
then I
April Fool's Day,
apologize.
everybody. Oh my gosh, I'm so thrilled. I'm so excited.
Yeah, okay, well, shout out Riot. There we go. That's what they're about.
Anyway, distracting from my point as we see, oh, it's beautiful.
It's completely
glorious.
derailed.
The semi-globals for AL going to be very important. I expect the mid-game to be rather bloody as we're on to the rift for game number 1 of our LPL Finals rematch, Anyone's Legends against Top Esports.
Already some posturing around down on this bot side. Tarzan lurking about here. JackeyLove on a ward is going to get actually to walk away scot-free, so we don't need to worry.
Oh my god, the little dogs have mustard on them.
Are you a mustard or a ketchup person on your?
As a kid, hated mustard, but I've started to become more of a fan recently. So I know people get flamed for saying they just like the ketchup. So
Do you want? So would you have both?
I'll do a little both at this point. Yeah.
Okay.
We got the Chicago style, I think, too, over there on the main scan. You got some pickles in there. Tomatoes, maybe?
You're gonna have to guide me through this American cuisine.
Yeah, I know.
Right?
This
is completely foreign concept
out of this crew. Yeah, we'll continue to hit on some hot dog facts as well as some Neferi facts as we go throughout this early game. But yeah, finals rematch here between AL and TES. Again, the bot lane should be rather volatile. The Kalista overall has very good 2v2 potential, and already we see the Pantheon being very aggressive. Kael popping that Ignite early and forcing Crisp and JackeyLove to use their secondary summoning.
Yeah, I mean, fair play, to be honest. I don't know that both of them were necessary, and Crisp, I think, maybe a little early on that heal, but even still, getting both of them out for Kael is a pretty big win, and they're already starting to zone them away from level 2, and as soon as that gets ticked over, you see the immediate respect is getting paid. I will say, I do think that there's a little bit of pressure on top to get some things going early, just because of the way that A Kalista functions, and B, the way that the kite for AL can happen. Tarzan has actually 3 camped and is moving into this bot side, relying very heavily on this pressure that his bot lane have put down, looking to, well, kill Crisp as he burns the flash early on. This could be quite difficult if mid lane isn't able to get priority. So you'll see now Creme needs to try and get prio so that he can come and support his jungler. Otherwise, this could be a pretty big waste of time for Tarzan if he doesn't get anything.
Gonna try for that blue buff, but will be stopped by Kanavi. Meanwhile, in the top lane, we're seeing how strong this Mordekaiser is against the Scion in the 1v1 isolated. We see right now also fighting around that bottom side river, as actually Kanavi was able to push Tarzan away. The strength of this Neferi, you can clear really fast early and make for a ton of DPS in terms of your early ganks. Meanwhile, on the bottom side, already seeing more aggression against JackeyLove and Crisp, who again, neither have very many summoner spells. That's another flash burned by Jackie.
And we're still seeing these scraps in the jungle. Currently, this is favoring Kanavi. He's actually 4 camps in, managed to steal away the wolves. But I think with Hope taking that really awful trade down on that bot side, it's going to mean that Tarzan not going to get anything down on this bot side. And they've sort of just walked around, not particularly cleared his top camps. Might steal away the crabs, but would have definitely liked to get a little more for his time invested. And now he's going to have to try and work even harder to try and clear that a little bit faster and pace back up to catching with Kanavi.
Yeah, no, the reason this Neferi jungle is so strong is because of the accelerated clear that you can have. But if you spend all your time like going for invades or like hovering around enemy jungle without getting anything, like that could certainly be a bit of a hindrance for yourself. As looks like Tarzan will be able to get both crabs, as you mentioned, as well as now getting to his top side quadrant, as we also see an early lane swap starting off here. But it looks like both bot lanes kind of called each other's bluff as they both have re-emerged on the top side. I mean, I feel like normally we see this right when the grub spawn. This is a little bit earlier than that.
Yeah, this is the anti-lane swap technique, right? Riot put this in to make sure that lane swaps sort of got stopped, and I think that Top Esports probably did a very good job at reading that AL were going to want to go for this, just to try and get Flandre out of what had been a pretty tricky trading pattern. But I mean, I honestly thought that the bot lane was going pretty well for Anyone's Legend, right? Here we go.
Yeah, already a flash engaged by Kael. Remember, JackeyLove does not have his. He's forced to dash straight into the hands of Tarzan, and first blood is picked up by AL. Chris, the next on the menu. Kael waiting for another stun to potentially come up off of cooldown. Will be matched by Tarzan's flash, and it's a quick 2 kills to Anyone's Legend.
And just like we said in the Pre-game Grapes, it's these two junglers. It's who can get the best off to start with. And this time round, it's Tarzan. Has this Neferi, the blue one pick that has been terrorizing solo queue, competitive play, everything. And he's able to find 2 kills on that top side. Kael starts it off. Those early summoner spells that they burned come home and they are able to reap a reward from it. No flash, no cleanse on JackeyLove. Has no choice but to try and take down Hope. And unfortunately, the barrier is still there for the Corki, means that JackeyLove is unsuccessful.
And that's the power of that Neferi, especially because he was able to burn Chris' flash earlier, which then allowed for Hope and Kael to burn JackeyLove's flash in the 2v2 isolated. And then, of course, you just go right back to it and end up picking up those 2 kills.
Swapping
now
again.
AL find themselves up 1,000 gold, and guess what? They swapped right back down, and now Tarzan is back on the bottom side again.
It looks like they're prioritizing this dragon more so than those grubs working their way towards a sole win condition early, and I think that denying that from top esports is going to be pretty valuable, right? As a composition that I'm thinking needs to do a little bit more earlier on. The idea that they're stopping those drakes and preventing a soul coming through, which could offset their late game struggles, it might do very well for them to deny a dragon here, deny a dragon there.
Trade on the other side, though, will be those grubs. As you mentioned, Kanavi going to pick up all 3 of them, with Flandre just ulting up to the top side to try to catch that wave and prevent any turret plates from going down at this point. Tarzan getting that Cloud Drake, and then going to have his chance to invade this bottom side a little bit as well. You see pings right now going towards 369 on the bottom lane, but Chris is here to try and counteract any sort of dive. Yeah, or some really terrible coding that happened on that minion, running all with sorts of directions, aggroing the wrong ways. Diving a Mordekaiser, always challenging, especially in a 2v3v1 situation, because he has the Death Realm, which means that instead of trying to go for the kill, it looks like Hope and Kael just trying to pick up plates. They were able to get one off of the repeated pressure that they had down onto 369. It also allows for Flandre to get some free time, kind of soaking XP, farming up in lane. However, he will quickly match by 369, who goes back to base, picks up that Haunting Guys, and will teleport right to the top side.
And thus begins the start of the attempted HP shred with that guys coming through. And you can see, right, Flandre has no interest in trying to trade with 369, just probably attempting to get the occasional grass proc here and there, and then sort of walking out as well. Curious to see, he's actually maxing that Q, so going for a little bit of that ability to clear waves. As our resident Scion main, Grapes, when is the right time to max various skills? Is it always just Q?
If you, well, it used to be like you go the Comet max E build, but I think that got nerfed like years ago at this point. If you're maxing W, like you're really having a bad time. I think most of the time you max Q, you just say screw it. I'm gonna try to clear out waves, even if I am a little bit less tanky overall. The big thing is just have a single point in W early on, because it means you can start the HP stack.
Okay. I see. Good to have some color casting from yourself as well to let us know the intricacies of Scion.
For this one champion, sure. I can help you out there.
I'm an AD carry player. I do not recall the last time I played Scion, so that's...
You probably just remember Scions like ulting on top of your head and you're not being able to kill them in the game.
Yes, exactly.
Your full experience.
Tends to be my go-to, but that's not just... That's everybody. That's not just Scion. That's a me problem. Even still, as we look through this game, right, talking about Kael going in.
Immediate engage. Really nice cleanse by JackeyLove to get himself out of the stun from Kael. Use the Fate's Call to send Chris back and make sure that Tarzan's gank does not find any fruit.
But that's very low effort from AL, right? Kael effectively walked up, didn't burn a flash, didn't burn an ulti or anything like that to get in, and now JackeyLove has to be really worried for the next sort of 2-3 minutes or so whilst his cleanse isn't available. Same to be said for Crisp. Without that ulti safety barrier from JackeyLove, needs to be careful as well. So they got the 2-for-1 special there where Kael stuns JackeyLove and they still are able to put enough threat onto Crisp and stop the Nico really from having that extra threat.
Yeah, so that's a cleanse at least down, but no flashes burned by the top esports bottom lane, which is a small win for them given the circumstances here. Tarzan continuing to clear up towards the top side. Kanavi's made his way back down. We got those grubs spawning in about 30 seconds. I think with Tarzan up in the top side. We're going to see a back at least from Kael to try and reinforce a little bit for AL on that top side of the map. Remember that because Top Esports got all 3, Anyone's Legends want to at least make sure that they don't give up all 6 of these grubs to a team like Top Esports. So again, wants to try to snowball this early game a little bit.
It's interesting actually that we're seeing Shanks make his way up to this top side so early and into that mid lane, sort of nobody catching that farm just yet. Might see Hope walk his way out through to that mid lane once he's come off the reset here, and then again it's probably going to be this mid wave that is at the very least shallowly caught, so not all of it going to be collected, but that Hope will get the most part of it. But really small rotations happening, knowing that Flandre with that teleport can get down to that bot side very quickly, and then they can have their strongest parts of the strongest pieces of their composition up for these grubs. The Sion wants to move, he's got ultimate to do so, to get from one side of the rift to the other very quickly.
Yeah, exactly, which is why he's okay with burning that teleport down to the bot lane to try to match Creme on the bottom side wave. He's actually maybe looking for a bit of an engage here, as Creme is catching this wave very, very high on this top side, on this bottom side. Meanwhile, grubs have already been started up by AL, as Tarzan is peppering them a little bit. He does have to smite to at least confirm one of these to go down, as he wants to make sure that there is no sense of a 6 grub situation. However, they did reset for now, as Top Esports still waiting for 369 to get here, make it an even fight. That is at least one of those grubs picked up, and now AL are going to peel off for now.
Yeah, and I think you should expect the Rise to get prio in this top side. Being ranged versus the Mordekaiser, definitely very powerful. You can clear the wave out nice and quickly also, whereas the Mord has to expend his threat to clear the wave. Rise definitely doesn't. Top, though, making their second move back in, they got push in that mid lane so they could transition JackeyLove over. And looking at that bot lane as well, teleport free for Creme if they do want to try and find a fight, but neither side are going to get the feet on this, so it's just going to be a little flip for the final one.
You hear that bell. That means that Flandre is going to try to join the fight here. Teleport comes in as well from Creme, but the Unstoppable Onslaught will not find a target. Chris flashes in, lands that Pop Blossom onto 2, and Creme, between worlds, will pick up that kill onto Kael. JackeyLove the next target, though, as Anyone's Legends and Tarzan on the Nefiri are looking to bounce back here in this team fight. Kanavi been knocked up as well. Realm Warp out from Shanks to get himself away from the Death Realm of 369, and the rest of AL are going to try to collapse here onto this Mordekaiser. Flash in onto Flandre to land that slow with the E, and Hope will pick up the kill, making it 5-1 Anyone's Legend.
3 kills on the top side for AL. They might not have gotten that second grub, but they sure as hell came away with the better fight. They're going to corral Kanavi under the turret as well. I don't think they'll be able to kill him. There's going to be plenty of plates that go down as well. Anyone's Legend in our first skirmish, really, that had large-scale impact, coming out overall very, very advantageous. 2-0-2 for Hope as well now. And this is how the top side fight looks to begin. 369 coming into this very, very weak. Shanks catching him off, just making sure that there's a little bit of vision pocket that he's able to take out the Mordekaiser. And then Crisp tries to go in. It's Hope that reads the engage very well, knowing that that flash is going to come through. And the ulti as well from Flandre actually bought a lot of time. JackeyLove positioned aggressively.
And now we've got another fight here. Chris, without that flash, in some trouble, as Kael will come down with that grand starfall and allow for Tarzan to pick up his second kill. AL running the map so far in game 1.
Yeah, you can see the couple of wards there to stop them being able to hit onto the blast cone. Don't know that any got connected on anyway. But good heads-up play from AL, now starting to really snowball, finding a quick pick onto Crisp as well, finding now their second dragon of the game, really stacking up those nice and effectively. Flandre's not going to miss out on really anything up on this top side, and maybe a plate has gone over to Creme there, but a very big win for AL, and, you know, sort of correcting themselves. Remember that the last 2 times these teams played each other, it was Top Esports came out on top. Top that booked their flights to first stand and their spot at the international event. Anyone's Legend who'd beat them twice before that were probably disappointed, expecting to be able to do it again, and already now in the regular season looking to once again correct those mistakes.
And remember, the difference maker in that grand finals for the LPL Split 1 for Top Esports was their bottom lane. JackeyLove won the MVP for that series in the grand finals, and you know, even though I think he went on record and saying, I thought some of my teammates might have deserved as well. Right now, that definitely is the case, because Hope and Kael are having a very good time with the help of Tarzan, of course, but JackeyLove and Chris certainly struggling here early in this early game, as Tarzan and AL continuing to try and put the pressure in onto this bottom side jungle. They didn't get the blue buff, but you see right now on the bottom side of your screen, everybody ahead in gold at the moment.
Yeah, and it's worth saying as well, right, that the reason that JackeyLove and Crisp are struggling is because of that jungle difference, that Tarzan found that gank in the top lane a little bit earlier on, got a couple of double kills there. In that top side fight as well, it was the Neferi jumping onto Kalista and making their life exceptionally miserable, where we've just not seen that same level of impact from Kanavi just yet. The Skarner, so frequently touted for his ability to alter team fights and warp them in your team's favour, and we've just not quite had that. Granted, we've only had one team fight, and we've had 15 minutes of time for Kanavi to make something happen. Like I say though, at the minute, we've just not seen it come to fruition, and that's been the difference maker.
It's just so hard to keep pace with this Neferi, especially if you get a lot of value out of your early game plays off of your first 2 clears, right? Like, the way that this champion functions is designed to snowball, and after picking up those first 2 kills in the bottom lane, Tarzan seems like he is off to the races at this point. The Glizzy's looking good early on, I should say, as the Rift Herald's about to spawn as well. There should be another target here for AL.
100% kill participation for Tarzan. He's got, you know, he's got the mustard, ketchup, and apparently some pickles as well. Like, this is the full, we are ready to consume kind of Glizzy that you were looking for.
Yeah, this is the Chicago style, as we were saying earlier. You got the pickles. I don't know if there's poppy seeds on that bun. That could be a little hot picks for next time.
Inaccuracies.
Yeah, I know Cubby's a big Chicago guy, so he'll have a word, I believe.
Put a word in Riot's ear. No, actually, we've missed out on the poppy seeds of this, so it's not actually accurate.
Riftail started up though, as the hot dog. It's messing with me right now, dude. I'm not gonna lie.
It's okay, Grapes. Fearless means you only have to be distracted for 1 game. Don't worry.
That is true. I cannot wait for this to continue to be the meta.
Headlines. Grapes distracted by Glizzy on screen. Okay.
Guilty as charged.
LPL English casters unable to cast game due to Glizzy's on screen.
There's just too many of them. Look, he spawns them all with passive dude. looking like Joey Chestnut out here. The way
okay, Rift Herald has been started by AL. We've got a lot of people on this top side. Rip hits onto Shanks.
In some trouble here. Kanavi going to throw out the ultimate, but Shanks will just flash away from it. Rematch potentially here by Chris. Pop lots of flash will stun him up, but now without any crowd control, Shanks will not be able to escape here with a Realm Warp. Really nicely timed route here by the Skarner to prevent him from going down. Now, another fight has opened up. 4 members of Top Esports on the wrong side of the map, but it doesn't matter because they are doing so much damage here. Tarzan going to pick up 1 on a JackeyLove and maybe look for another as Hope is still full HP with the Gatling gun unleashed. Kanavi, Chris, and the rest of Top Esports still in some trouble here. This dog is absolutely barking right now in this game, but he finally will get taken down by Creme. Now Hope in a 1v3 will back forward. Creme is still running the wrong way. Surely should go down. Gatling gun up once again, and there's the Foss Bomb to pick up another kill for Hope.
Yeah, and I don't think that they can get Herald off this Top Esports. They did find a good fight, though. Taking out Kael, taking out Tarzan as well. A big shutdown on that Neferi's head. But Shanks immediately back up to that top side. And it's kudos to Creme, I think, in that fight for just dancing around AL, using the Between Worlds to get 2 really good teleports that bait the majority of AL around the top side fight. Probably going to get to see a little bit more of that once again. TP's down to the bot side from 369 and Flandre, so they're not going to be interested by this fight. Shanks initially catching the majority of the focus from Top Esports and thinks, okay, well, Crisp has used that Pop Blossom. I'm good to go. Skarner's used both spells, but it's a really good Tangle Barbs from Crisp. Just keep your eyes on Creme here. Pops the Between Worlds, gets away from Kael one way, and then away from the Tarzan and Hope Valk as well. So just keeping them on a tether at all times. Flashes away from Tarzan as well. Keeps himself alive for so long. This is one of those situations where maybe if you've got a Corki who's just a little bit further into the game, they do start to tear you apart, but just having so much HP on Kanavi meant the Corki couldn't go as crazy as we might have expected.
I mean, Tarzan just jumping in 1v4 and still able to pick up the kill on the JackeyLove. Absurd. The fearless nature, despite losing 2 of their players early in that fight from Tarzan and Hope specifically, have allowed AL to stay in this game and make sure that fight was more even than it was in favor of Top Esports. We now have this Dragon that has been spawning here. AL want to make sure that they pick up this soul point, and Top Esports want to avoid that happening. The battle lines drawn around the bottom side river. right now.
And it's
like
eyes on Creme now for Top Esports. He's got all 4 of their kills. He's been instrumental in their successes so far this game and has been picking up kills in their failing. So we have to keep our eyes on this Aurora and how well it is that Creme can perform. A player who'd been sort of touted and criticised a lot really for their performance in losses versus AL. Needs to step up and show that he's improving in that split 1 to split 2 difference, that he's actually going to be that difference maker for the team.
Yeah, one of the younger players here on this Top Esports roster. Less experienced, although now in his 2nd full year with the team, getting a lot more of that international experience. We're hoping that it can come into fruition here in this game specifically when he is the primary carry. Right now, Dragon started up by Top Esports. They'll have the smite advantage with a random JackeyLove on the Kalista. Tarzan, though, still looking for a potential steal. Will not pick it up, though, as Kanavi will secure the objective. But now, here comes the big fight. Creme goes between worlds. Shanks currently the target right now, but Flandre going over the backside. And there's Kanavi getting bursted instantaneously. A 2-man Pop Blossom combined by the Fate's Call will mean that Chris and the rest of TES will be able to peel away for now. Creme goes forward, but doesn't find a single knockup and will get taken down by Hope. And anyone's Legends will win this fight easily. They lose the Dragon, but will pick up 4, maybe 5, as JackeyLove is still on the run. Tarzan finds the mark, pops the Eclipse Shield, and will not be able to find the rest of the kills as that turret gets overheated.
So Jackie gets away, but they only lose 1. Anyone's Legend coming alive in game number 1 of this series. Finding yet another successful team fight. They found mid-tier 1 beforehand. They're going to take the bot lane tier 1 as well. And there are pings up toward the Atakan as well by AL. They know that they are in the ascendancy this game. They've got a 5k gold lead, and they are going to hammer it, force it down Top Esports' throat. Take another look at how this fight breaks out. JackeyLove spends his entire time hitting a Scion, unreally able to get any DPS out whilst on the top side of this fight. Kanavi's getting melted by Shanks and Hope. Crisp jumps in. Yes, he gets saved, but also not really able to do anything. He goes back in, throws himself in and gets immediately taken down because he threaded the needle on all 3 champions. A root onto Creme and a knock-up from Flandre. You know, just the duality of what the Scion versus the Kalista was able to do in that fight is exactly what led to anyone's Legend being in a very good spot.
Top Esports, they still want to fight. They find Kael here with the Impale, forcing him to flash away. Hope gets taken really, really low by Creme. But here comes the follow-up by Tarzan on the Neferi. And Kanavi once again gets taken down. Second proc of the ultimate lands onto JackeyLove, but he will be able to dash away for now. Here comes Shanks. He flashes to the wall, but the Pop Blossom will be responded to. Shanks picks up 1 kill onto JackeyLove. Will Creme be able to find 1? He finally does. Back onto the Neferi, but will get traded by Flandre. Another 4 kills find the way of AL as they'll make their way towards the Atakan.
And the battle of the mid laners continues to reign supreme. Shanks finds a triple kill in the top side there, flashing over the wall, laying waste to the backline of Top Esports. They're going to be rewarded with this Atakan, and anyone's Legend are able to send Hope down to this bot side to catch 369, making sure that he's not getting any more than they're happy to hand over. 4-1-8 for Shanks, 5-0-6 for Hope. The carries for anyone's Legend having a remarkable game so far. And if we take a look at how this broke down, again, to begin with, it's Kanavi starting this fight onto Kael, but this is just not a fight that they can afford to be taking. A TP comes in from the Scion again to add insult to injury, and just the ability, the cross-map that the Scion is giving them as well, has proven to be very important. In Between Worlds finds a great purchase onto the Corki or onto the Neferi, but even though they do go down, it's the Shanks flash on the other side of the fight, which is truly telling. Gets an insane amount of AoE damage down between a couple of Neferi Qs. The spread of the Essence Flux is just too much. It's Top Esports that are reeling from that fight.
I feel like in general, you look at Top Esports composition, they want to fight like front to back 5v5, right? You have this big front line in the Skarner, you have 369 to maybe play that middle ground, and then you have Creme and Chris with these giant AoE ultimates. And unfortunately for them, they really haven't been able to find those fights the way that they wanted to. It's always these little skirmishes that end up scattered across multiple fronts, and we're going to see it again here with the semi-globals that AL have. Creme will once again go down. He has 5 of the 6 kills from top, but also 4 deaths at this point. Rift Arrow also picked up by AL as they're going to try to crack open this top tier 2.
Yeah, and that's a really big mistake from Creme here. Going to cost them probably this tier 2 on the top side, but you have to wonder, why is he so far up? without the proper support that he needs there. And you know, Anyone's Legend now looking even deeper. JackeyLove going to get chunked out initially here by a quick little bit of damage from Kael. Remember, this is a, you know, decently fed Pantheon with 8 assists, has a first item which is not holding any prisoners back in terms of what it's trying to do. This is full damage Pantheon so far, and attempting to get a bit of one shot onto JackeyLove. Maybe he's not got the damage to do that, but a quick chunk like that can change the course of how a fight works.
Tarzan yoinks away that hard fought for red buff by 369. He popped the death realm to make it a 1-for-1. He will be stronger in this isolated setting. Will matter how much reinforcements Tarzan will have once the fight begins.
He's got a
and
lot.
Here comes Tarzan with the Flandre with the ultimate, and will be able to pick up that kill on to Tarzan. Here comes the trade though, Kanavi with a 2-man impale, but he is all too late as the rest of his team has fallen around him. Anyone's Legend dominating once again.
Top Esports continue to tunnel on just 1 kill. They lose out on 4 this time, and they didn't have JackeyLove there at all to help them. This game, Grapes, looking like it's going from bad to worse to over in the next 5 minutes or so, as AL secure what is going to be their 3rd dragon, putting them on sole point. Baron's going to be up now for the next 5 minutes with no contest of objective on either side of the rift. They might want to take a bot lane tier 2 before they head up there, but it's not going to be necessary. I think with Hope and Flandre here, look at, like, that's 8 spears and Flandre just tanked it. He's tanking the turret.
That's a Scion gameplay right there. He's got his 2 items. He took his flashes in the early game in terms of getting focused down by 369, but now he is a level up on the Scion. Take another look at this replay. It was 369 who thought he could win the 1v1 against Tarzan, but then the rest of the squad pulled out.
I think in fairness, he probably could win the 1v1 if it took sort of 20 seconds. But Death Realm not that strong an ability, and as soon as Tarzan comes back out, Flandre just rears up and charges into them. They've found another pick as Creme has found himself caught once again. A second side lane death in, well, probably as many minutes, but pretty rough so far.
Tarzan now going for another invade here onto Top Esports. His red buff Kael just unrelenting here on this front line as well with the Pantheon. Here comes Flandre off of the teleport, lands that on top of Onslaught onto Kanavi. Kael does not find a target, and here comes Tarzan. Procs that ultimate and picks up the first kill, and now 369 has Hope in the Death Realm. Chris lands the Pop Blossom onto 2, but there's just not enough damage as the power of the Glizzy will strike fear into the hearts of Top Esports. It's a triple kill for Tarzan on the dog.
And with a wave in the mid lane as well, Anyone's Legend are just going to barrel it down and try to open up this base. It's the bot side that they're looking for. 0 seconds left. Creme's death timer is elapsed, so they might not be able to end the game here, Grapes. But they're certainly going to look to put some pretty sizable damage down to the base of Top Esports.
Should at least be 2 inhibitors. The question is, will they go for more? Hope Valks to try to clear that wave out a little bit quicker, but Baron should likely be the target that AL retreat to at this point. Have a 13,000 gold lead at this point. It's looking much more like the Demacia Cup finals than the LPL finals at this point.
Yeah, I mean, this game's done. Like, has probably been done for the last 5-10 minutes or so. Right, this composition for Top Esports really wanted to snowball, wanted to make sure that JackeyLove was a massive threat, a massive presence early on, and I mean, just Tarzan did a really good job at neutralizing that. You can see just the disparity in junglers alone. 4.1 thousand gold difference as Shanks is now just dancing with Kanavi.
Now level 18, Kai has the help of Kael and Hope. In addition to that, Kanavi just never got anything going here on this Skarner. Pop Blossom comes out for Chris, has not had enough time to do enough scaling here in this game, and now 369 is going to teleport himself into a rough situation in a 1v3. Can't even pop the Death Realm as he gets crowd controlled to bits. And Creme, now the next target here. Rocket does not connect, so he will be able to survive at least for now. But the game might not be in their hands for much longer. Tarzan jumping in, lands that ultimate in onto JackeyLove, and that should do it. Baron not even necessary, as Anyone's Legends are 5 strong, pushing into the base of Top Esports.
Yeah, 30 kills in 29 minutes. It's a demolition of our LPL champions, and AL back to winning ways.
Tarzan on the Nefiri jungle ends 8-3-13. Hope 9-0-11 as the Nexus goes down, and in a sub 30-minute domination, it's Anyone's Legends taking us to match point.
Wow, what a great start for Anyone's Legend, right? This was up against Top Esports, who, like we mentioned earlier, 6-0'd their way out of the group stage, coming into, again, a group that Top Esports as our LPL champions, right? Even though the league is so stacked, even though this Ascend group is so powerful. The expectation is that Top Esports probably come away with a win here, and already Anyone's Legend sort of upsetting that, bucking that trend super early on, and finding a clean, concise, methodical win here for game number 1.
And for Top, it just never got going. It all comes down to this Neferi pick, who I continue to see dominate in these LPL matches, almost seemingly no matter who's playing it at this point. I mean, I think it has like a 70-80% win rate right now in this league, and when it's in the hands of somebody like Tarzan, it's able to have a massive impact. We saw even early on in a game, on a champion like this Neferi, you might not have any hard crowd control in your kit, but just the amount of damage and the tempo that you generate from having that fast clear, seems like Top Esports just weren't able to respond to it.
No, and honestly, the power that Neferi had, right, that you've talked about, was the leading cause for it. I do think that just those couple of swaps that happened, yes, there was a great read by Top Esports to match the top lane swap, but they were swapping into the side of the map that the Neferi was on, and Tarzan's right there, just sat ready and waiting, and it's a really solid performance overall, start to finish. Anyone's Legend never really gave an in to Top to make a play happen. I think there was one skirmish that Creme got a couple of kills, which gave a little bit of hope maybe to Top Esports, but overall, Creme getting caught out a couple of times on side lanes as well, begins pushing that envelope even faster for Anyone's Legend, and the way that they're now 1-0 up in this best of 3 bodes well for them moving into the next set of games.
And while the last series between these two teams went the way of Top Esports in a pretty one-sided fashion, remember that Anyone's Legend still have the overall head-to-head in 2025 against Top Esports, right?
Yeah.
It was 7-5, now it's 8-5, and it's looking like the regular season so far in Split 1 this time around once again. And that'll be an interesting narrative to continue to follow here, Rood, because even though Top Esports won in the series that mattered, Anyone's Legends has won the other series, like in the Demacia Cup and then the LPL regular season. If they continue this trend, I mean, it could set up for another very spicy playoff matchup later on in the season as well.
Yeah, I mean, these two teams, I think already just this year around, I think it'd be a disappointment if they don't meet in playoffs in some capacity. But we get to take a look at the post-game stats, and yeah, I think that the fact that JackeyLove is being outdamaged by Kael is the real indicator of how difficult that game was. Hope, obviously, 10k damage more than his counterpart. You don't really need to think about that, but when you've got a Scion as well on your team, you normally find that AD carries have monstrous damage stats because they do so much damage versus Scion without killing him. And that time round, JackeyLove was not present, was not having that impact, and literally just tickling him.
Yeah, we saw the play around the bottom tower. He wasn't doing much damage to Flandre even when he did get the chance to try to damage him a little bit.
This fight as well, it's off screen, but yeah.
It's these like little scattered skirmishes that AL's composition really enjoyed when you have single target damage, single target crowd control on the Pantheon and the Neferi, and it ends up working out for them. It seems like AL was able to find targets that they wanted to, try to burst them all down, whereas that didn't necessarily work as well for Top Esports. No,
and you can see like just trying to Hail Mary onto a support as well, and even when that goes wrong, it's so disappointing as Top Esports that's the situation you find yourself in. I mean, this Shanks flash here over the wall to take as much damage as he does, and be as unchecked as well as he is. Again, impressive stuff from the mid lane of Anyone's Legend, who's had a really solid turn onto 2025.
Yeah, and even though we've talked about how Tarzan and Hope have had big impacts on this game, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised to see a player like Shanks get some MVP votes in this game as well. Just the amount of impact that he had, especially in these later game team fights. He was able to farm up nicely, scale. He was level 18 like before 30 minutes in this game, of course, as that was when the game ended. The fearless nature of a player like this and the ability to know his angles and know when to play aggressive, it definitely showed here in this game.
Yeah, I mean, like, he's one of the few people that's taking Rise and giving it so much priority here, right? Like, was happy to blind pick it in the draft, said that there's not really anything that they can do to punish me. Yes, he ate or chose to use a couple of their bans in the second phase to make sure that he was safe, I guess, in the mid lane. But if that's the strategy that AL want to use, then more than happy for them to do that. But like I say, blind picking this champion, again, one of the few players that's actually taking the Rise, I feel like, in the moment into that mid lane, and proving that it's a very powerful pick, and maybe more people should be on it.
It's been rising up in some certain regions, but it seems to be like a certain sect of players that enjoy playing it, with Shanks obviously being one of them here. This is his third straight win on this pick so far in split number 2, as AL off to a great start so far.